What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of C.A.P. Cultivate, Accumulate, Prosper. This is your boy J.D., and we're going to cultivate today.
What's up, y'all? This is your girl, Erica, and we're going to accumulate, and together we're going to prosper.
Yes, indeed. It's good to be back in the booth.
Always, always. You have a good week?
I had a great week. What about yourself?
I can't complain. It seems like it's been a long week.
That it has. Well, let's get off into the buzz topics. First one we have is Kirk Franklin documentary. He has a new album coming out entitled Father's Day, which will be out October the 6th. But he had a much more revealing situation with finding the answers to who his biological father is. I took time and watched the documentary that was on YouTube the other week, and he found out his biological father, is a guy named Richard Hubbard. What do you think about that, Eric?
Okay, I think that it was like very interesting. It was a very emotional documentary. It made me like really, really feel for him, just to know that even in finding who his biological father is and having him do the DNA test, and also to have his biological mother, Deborah, even though it's 99.9% accurate that he is the father, she still kept saying, oh, no, that thing is lying. He's not the father. I would not lie to you. So this is a DNA test. So for him to endure that and all the things that he's had to endure as a child, to know that his father was 10 minutes away in the same city.
Yeah, that was something that was it's heartfelt. Unfortunately, it happens to a lot of people who are not celebrities. I'm glad for him that he's finding out. Hopefully he can repair the relationship with his biological mother, since it appears that she is in denial.
But good way of saying it.
Yeah. So, but it's a lot of these things happen in our communities, and you don't have to be a celebrity for these situations to happen. A lot of people don't get the answers they're looking for and go through life like that. So, I wish him the best in this new journey, and look forward to listening to his music that's coming out on the Father's Day album in October.
Now, see, that album is going to be amazing to me. One of my most favorite of his is the Rebirth album.
Okay.
Because that was just like really real, and he kind of like even delved into some things in his life then.
Yeah.
And it's the rebirth of Kirk Franklin. So this is going to bring about a whole lot for him. So I'm really, really ready for this album. That album is going to be powerful.
Should be, definitely. Now, our second buzz topic, Tyler Perry made some comments on men and women and relationships. I watched the podcast because I'm a fan of Crystal Renee Hazlitt. Everybody know I like me some Fatima. I watched that podcast interview, and he said, if a man who makes less is good to you and loves you, he's worth keeping around. He made that comment, then he mentioned about the light bill. Now, I understand what he was saying, but I think it was the way that he said it that ruffled some feathers with women. But what is your take? And I'll finish up with what I think about it.
Okay, so when he mentioned the light bill, my take was like even giving an example just to show, I will help with some things. I can help with the light bill, or I can help with something, but just to say, I know I don't make as much as you, but I'm going to do my part as well. That's how I took of him, saying that. But I do know that a lot of people will misconstrue things. And he even said in the beginning, I know I'm going to get into a lot of trouble saying this.
Yeah, he did say that.
That was his disclaimer. He gave the disclaimer. But, people are going to hone in on one thing, because basically I think the issue is that it's like, why I got to pay for everything? I'm the woman, and he's supposed to be providing. You know what I'm saying? But there's going to be, in this day and age, there's always a chance that the woman is going to be making more. Yeah. We're coming up.
Yeah, statistically, it shows that right now whatever statistic this is located at. I'm not debating it, but it says that black women make more on the average than black men. And when you look at the fact that a lot of sisters go to school longer, or, go to school more so than some of the fellas, that tends to be true. But everyone's relationship is differently. Now, I'm not married or anything. I've been in relationships in the past or whatnot. As a man, you have to be comfortable enough if the person that you are married to or in a relationship with makes more money-wise, that you're comfortable enough as your God-given right as a man not to let that intimidate you. But you will have those fellas who that becomes an issue for them. And then you have some ladies who they get the power trip and they'll throw that in someone's face. Neither one of those situations are good. And everyone's relationship is differently. There's no one size fit all. But I think when he mentioned about paying the light bill, he kind of left that open-ended. I was like, you should have elaborated on that. But I mean, people are going to say what they say, whether they're a celebrity, a pastor, or a politician. People are people. And everyone sees things in a different scope of lenses. But, you're always going to rub somebody the wrong way. But I think whatever works for you and that individual is your business. Everyone's marriage or relationships is not a one-size-fit-all. And people tend to want to make it like that. And then if you say something that differs from that, it bothers them.
Especially when it's in the public eye. But the cool thing about Tyler Perry, he is never going to let what the people say get to him. He is still going to be Tyler Perry.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That is true. So, whatever works for you out there in your relationship, do what's best for you. Understanding between you and whoever it is, that's the only thing I would tell you. Because that's between you, your significant other, and God, how you all conduct yourselves with that.
All right. Our minds clear.
Oh, we are. We're clear.
Let's
We're
get
good.
this thing started. Right. Listen, you guys, I am so excited about the guests that we have today. I've been ready for the weekend just to get to this guest because I'm like, we gonna laugh, we gonna have some fun. That's real talk. She is in the top 15 coaches in Memphis 2023 of the Influential Digest. That is major. Congratulations on that. She is a dynamic speaker, powerful motivator, an author, certified professional coach, executive director of Power Ministries, Inc., CEO of Empowerment Coaching and Consulting, the host of the weekly talk show SOAR, Accomplishments, TSD's Women of Excellence, Female Pastor of the Year, Dress for Success, Entrepreneurial Spirit Award. She has a master's in divinity. She has a doctor in ministry. I am so pleased to introduce to you all Pastor Karren Todd, Dr. Karren Todd, Coach Karren Todd. Welcome.
Call me what I am to you.
Welcome. We are so glad to have you here today.
I'm glad to finally adjust my life where it fits your life so that I could be here. So I'm grateful to be here.
Wonderful. Tell our listeners a little bit about Karren Todd.
Well, actually, you just told them everything. So, I am a certified professional coach. I am the executive director of Power Ministries, CEO of Empowerment Coaching and Consulting. I always say, most importantly, I'm a mother, a grandmother, a daughter, a sister, and a friend. So that's what's most important. All of the accomplishments are blessings, but who I am at the core of me is who I am to my friends, who I am to my family.
Right.
So all the other stuff is icing and just great things that God has done.
Okay. Well, I know you from way back from at New Direction.
Well, now, first of all, your way back is too far.
It's too far.
You see, way
You
back.
gotta let me know.
Well,
I mean, a whole
Wait a
lot
minute.
of time. Okay, go
okay.
But yes,
Right.
we met at New Direction Christian Church.
We
You're
did.
absolutely right.
Yeah. So what I wanted to ask you was, what was the process like to pivot from full-time ministry into empowerment, coaching, and consulting?
Well, one of the things that it was a major pivot outside looking in.
Okay.
It wasn't as major for the person that was doing it.
Gotcha.
So in 2016, I think I announced my resignation from the role of senior associate pastor at New Direction. But 2014, 2015, that's when I started getting certifications for coaching. So I didn't know when the move was going to happen, but I started saying yes to the preparation. So a lot of times people are looking at, oh my God, he's an overnight success. And he was like,
Right.
hey, that was a long night. Because I've been working at this thing, I've been pushing, and I've been, all these things that we do to get ready for the public manifestation of what God has always been doing privately. So it was a major pivot for a lot of people. Like I said, for me, God had been preparing me. I did not know when I was getting certifications that I was leaving New Direction.
Okay.
But it wasn't a big change for me. It just shifted where I went every day. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was always my calling to be a blessing to people. It was always my calling to help people. It was always my calling to be present for women in ministry. It's just, where do I do that now?
Yeah.
So my where my car went every day changed. My purpose and my calling did not.
Makes
So maybe
sense.
that's why it feels like to me that it wasn't a major pivot for me.
That makes sense.
Good. I try to make sense from time to time.
It does make a lot of sense, especially in that you saying, to the public eye, because us looking in, it's like this. I was looking on paper, I'm like, okay, she's just doing it. And I was like, right there, like, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I just saw her as this. And now it's just like all of this. So yeah, in the public eye, it was like, bam. And I know it don't happen that quick. It's
Right,
definitely
right.
not an overnight success.
It
but-
doesn't happen that quickly when it's going to be sustained.
Right.
So it can happen quickly, and people can pop up overnight and then they pop off
Uh-huh.
the next
Yeah.
night.
Right.
Because the foundation is not there, and the sustainability is not present. So I'm grateful that I was able to build. So I was building even on the things that I did in New Direction.
Right.
So I didn't make this major turn where it's like, okay, drop that, and now let's do this. It was always, just a movement. It was a flow.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Just a flow. We have listed all of these accolades, and then you added on to that the grandmother, the mother, the friend, auntie, all of it. And this is in a world where so many men are doing this. How do you do it and still make time for caring?
I don't understand the part of the question about so many men. Can I just answer the?
Yeah.
You want to clarify it or just
Yeah,
answer the other
you can
part?
just answer
all
it.
right, all right. Because I'm like,
That's just a comment, because it's so many men who are in here. They're being I think about Eric Thomas, or I think about John Maxwell. So many who are coaches, who are speakers, who are doing this thing, and here it is when you think about a woman that's doing it, and you add the part of being a grandmother and a mother. It's so much.
there are as many women successful at it as there
Right.
are men. So the dynamic of who I am, gender-wise, because I have always been female, it doesn't play into it for me. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because it's not like I did it another way and then came back. So is there more pressure? It's just different pressure.
Yeah.
It's different pressure. Our pressure as women are maybe pay. It may be being accepted in a room that is usually filled with men. So
Right.
the pressure is different. But I also know male coaches who have pressures because they're still trying to provide for their families. They're still trying to, if you are a black man, you're in a room, you may be trying to get into the room with white men. So there are
Right.
different pressures. So I don't feel as if I am fighting something and breaking through. There are so many people that have paved a way. There are so many people who have mentored me so that I can be present and do all the things that God has called me to do. So yes, we only have 24 hours in a day, but you have to prioritize what is most important to you, because I've got 24 hours in my day. You've got 24 in yours. Oprah has 24 in hers. Beyonce got 24 in hers. Right. It's just all about what you do with that 24. It's all about what you do with your downtime. Am I going to binge watch Suits on Netflix? Or am I going to go back and get another certification? Am I going to go back and read during my downtime? So it's all about how you use your downtime. Or am I going to spend time with my granddaughter? So there is downtime.
Right.
So how do you choose to spend this downtime to be the best person for your family, to be the best person in your career, and to be your best self for yourself?
Right.
So we have to manage our time well so that we can show up best in all these places and present our, the best version of ourselves in all of these places. I don't know if I answered your question, but it was good stuff.
You did. You did. You did. It was good stuff for real. And I started learning how to do that, especially when I started going to school, because it's like, okay, a lot of things that I was doing before, it's not that I don't do them anymore. Mm-hmm. I may do the binge watching, on some things, to take that time. For Erica last year, I actually got out of town for a vacation. I forgot what that word was.
That's not acceptable. We'll talk about it later.
I got better, though. I got better. Definitely not acceptable. Ooh, that was that sound, too. I felt like you in trouble. How dare you?
Yes, I do still have that.
What I'm hearing is balance. Everyone has to have balance with your work or your purpose or your calling, and for personal time, regardless of whether it's with your nuclear family, friends, or just self. Because I make time to do that. So
yeah, I agree. I often so we are taught like work-life balance is the phrase, right. Work-life balance. I don't like that phrase because it puts work, which you're supposed to do like 40, 50 hours a week, whatever, in the same sentence as life, which is much bigger than work. So I don't often teach work-life balance. I don't often the phrase work-life balance. Yeah. And so I have moved away from balance because we're programmed to believe work-life when we hear balance. Yeah. So I've moved away from balance and I use the word flow. Because if let's say as an event planner, or we can use church. We talked about church. There are major days in church. There is Easter. There is anniversary. There is Christmas. There is New Year's. So if you are a planner of those events during those seasons, you're working harder. But then in those off seasons, you have to make sure you take the vacation. You have to make sure you do the other things. So it may not be a daily balance. It may not be a weekly balance, but as long as there's a flow that includes you accomplishing your goals, that includes you resting, that includes you drinking your water, minding your business, you know what I mean? So all of these things so that we flow through that. So my flow may not look like your flow, but we kind of all end up as balanced people because we understand and manage the flow.
And that's another way of putting it. What I wanted to ask you was, out of all of your accomplishments and accolades, what was the most challenging and what has been one of the most rewarding?
That's a good question. You should have emailed me that. No, I'm just kidding. One of the most challenging, I think, was... one of the most challenging, I'll say, going into ministry in an environment that I was not used to. So I served at New Direction for many, many years. And coming out of that environment was also challenging. But I'll stick with what I said first. Going into an interim role at a multicultural congregation. Mm. So that was different for me going in, only because I had to deal with fears that I never had to deal with. So we are always, dealing with our fears and the things that limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome, all those types of things. And I was comfortable in my current ministry because it looked like me. And so then when I was offered the opportunity to go to a church that was not 100% or 99.999% African American, I had to adjust my thinking that I couldn't do it because I had not had practice, or I was always around people who understood my stories. That was one of my things. So how am I what stories will I use when I preach? Child, I was like, spades. I can't pull out my spades stories. I can't pull out my South Memphis stories. I can't,
Wow.
if I say a line from a song, everybody's not going to get it. So those are very real things. So I had to shift my thought process, and I had to dig deeper because God was enlarging my territory, and I asked for my territory to be enlarged, but then we kind of wanted to stay the same. God enlarged my territory, but let me be comfortable. And those two do not go together because God is more concerned about your character than your comfort. So you have to be able to be ready for the expanding and the stretching. And I had to go through that. So that was challenging for me because it took away, I was out of my comfort zone. But the great things, the miraculous things, the mind-blowing things don't happen in your comfort zone.
No, they don't.
So that was challenging for me because, I was Linus and y'all took my blanket. So, so it was different. So that was just one. I've had a lot of things that were challenging. So what was the second part of the question?
What was been the most rewarding, or one of the most rewarding?
I'll use the same thing.
Okay.
So going into that ministry, and I was senior associate pastor originally, so I preached like once a month. So coming here, I'm about to have to preach I got to preach every day. Every Sunday? What do you mean? So being able to do that and just looking and say, okay, this is a challenge and I'm going to accomplish it. Those are the two things I was looking at overcoming. But once that interim position was over and then looking back and seeing all the other things that I accomplished while I was there, how God used me, how God shifted my mindset, and also was able to help transform the ministry. So things that I did not see that were going to be the fruit, I was able to experience that fruit looking back at what happened.
So it was really just a matter of, like we all have sometimes, is getting out of our own head. Because I know I wrestle with that quite a bit, but I've gotten better at it. But it's always a work in progress. I'm not sure who has arrived to just completely never being inside their head. But if you're a person who's driven, who's passionate about things, it's going to have those moments where you're overthinking. If
you're never in your head, and I don't mean staying there, but if you never have a fleeting thought at any moment that, okay, wait a minute, let me think about it, then you're not being stretched. You ain't doing that. You're staying in if you never feel uncomfortable, you are living your life in your comfort zone. So you are not accepting challenges if you don't feel challenged.
Yeah.
If everything is easy, you should be doing something else.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
And silence fell across the land.
Because that's good. You have to think about that thing for a second. Like, you know what? She said so. She said something.
Everything is easy.
And I remember where I used to be. Child, you was there. I remember where I used to be. And it was like I was afraid to actually step out because I had gotten so comfortable. And it's something now I love the fact that when I get uncomfortable, because I know God is getting ready to do something in that. All I had to do, I remember actually stepping out and actually doing Manifest Conference and having it in me for 14 years. But it's like, no, I'm not ready.
And if you are comfortable now, and not just you, anybody, if you are comfortable now, you need to look for your next challenge.
Yeah, and he's challenging
because
me again.
Now so let's say I do this thing and oh my God, it was wonderful. And then I go, now what?
Right.
Because you can keep doing Manifest Conference every year, but then that becomes the comfort zone.
Exactly.
So You get your territory, your boundaries get enlarged, but then it enlarges your comfort zone because now you're used to it. So now you got to come outside of that box, and then the box gets bigger, and then you have to step outside of that box and allow the box to get bigger.
Exactly. And I love the fact that I have been able to associate with more people who are actually doing it. To meet Tamika Chambliss Williams, I'm learning so much from her and her husband, from Kia Griffin, known her for years, but even in this atmosphere and her speaking at the conference, I'm learning even more to keep on growing from
Absolutely.
where I was.
Why not?
Right.
The time, we have so much time. And the time will pass anyway. That's what I tell people when I coach them. Okay, well, I don't know if I have time to go back to school. Well, if God allows you to live 2 more years, why not? The time will pass anyway.
Exactly.
You may as well accomplish something in the time.
Exactly. So listen, in all of these and where you are now, thinking back to where you used to be, what would you say to the younger Karren?
Thank you. I just talked about this on the radio show.
Oh.
A lot of times we feel like we want to give advice to the younger self. Sometimes we just need to thank them for hanging in there. You know what I mean? Because if it had not been for 15, 16, 18-year-old Karren pressing through the dumb stuff that was happening in life and all, if she had not pressed through, I would not be here.
Right.
The dreams that she had are not necessarily the dreams that I'm living because she didn't know. You know what I mean? She 15-year-old Karren had no clue about preaching. She made 18-year-old going into college Karren may have been like, okay, I want to have a corporate job. I want to have a Mercedes by the time I'm 26. It was because that was the brain of the teenager. But I just appreciate my younger self for taking the time to study, for applying to college, for going to class. Because if she had not pressed through, I would not be here to make her proud. So I don't have advice like, I go harder, nah, I'm good with it. I appreciate you.
I like that. It's basically the beginning part of the journey.
And at 18, that 18-year-old Karren did what that 18-year-old Karren understood to be done. And so it's my responsibility to take that baton and bring it on. Every leg, when you're running a race, every leg has responsibility. Right. So get out the blocks well and get as fast as you can and make sure you put the baton in the next person's hand. Go ahead and get a lead for the next leg. Yeah. You know what I mean? The third one, hang on, just keep it. Keep the lead. And then the fourth one is the one, turn on the jets and let's get it done. So every leg, so I appreciate all of those phases of my life. And so now the jet's on. So let's get it done.
I like that you said that because I definitely, like we all can relate to that when someone has asked me, a group of young guys before when I was working in the school system, like, Coach Davis, what about when you was young? And I was like, what would, or someone's asked me, what would I tell my younger self? Mm-hmm. I mean, I became a father at a young age. My son now is 27 years old.
Gotcha.
But for every phase of my life, from my teen years to my years at Tennessee State University and college to after college in my 30s, and now being blessed to be in my 40s. Mm-hmm. Every step of the way, I've learned something as a man. Yeah. From how to deal with opportunities, from relationships, just some of everything.
The laughter after relationships.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's just what it is.
That too.
And let me say this: I'm not changing anybody else's answer.
Yeah.
So that's just Karren answering the question that was asked to Karren. Yeah. So that's what I would say. If you have advice to give to your younger self, give it. Because a lot of times in conversations like this, even on the radio, the people that are listening may need that advice. So if I had said, I just wish I would have pushed harder, that's okay too. But that was just Karen's answer for Karen's question.
Yeah, and it's some things that I would tell myself to look at.
Certainly.
But of course, just overall, I know it's brought me to this point where I am today as a man. So that's why, sure enough, there'll be some things that I'm like, man, you might want to rethink this or whatnot. But I had to realize
would you
later
be who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
if you had not monked that up.
So
exactly.
so it's one of those catch-22s to be like, okay,
right.
now as I've gotten a little older and wiser, I'm like, you know what? I had to deal with that. Even if it was not of my control or it was in my control, I had to,
But
deal
it made
with
you
that.
better.
It was all a part of the journey, because you hear people ask you sometimes, would you change any of that? All of the hurts, all of the bruises, I wouldn't change anything.
And that comes from a place of self-awareness. So if people are not in a place of self-awareness, they may want to change something else. But if you appreciate where you are, appreciate who you become, if you are aware of the value you bring to the world and to the lives of the people around you, then you're less likely to want to change it, because it may shift who you've become.
Right.
So, yeah.
Because I never looked at, like I said, I know where I was, with the insecurity, scared to step out, scared to even open my mouth.
So you may have wanted to change me talking crazy to you, but if you may not be here on the podcast. If you could change, I wish Karen had not told me that. So,
I would not, because you told me a lot. You told me a lot. I still remember some of the things, but I keep it in my head because it's what helped me to push forward.
Right.
And Pastor Tony, yeah.
Okay, well, this is, since, you're on CAP, we always ask a question dealing with the acronym, which is Cultivate, Accumulate, Prosper. So I want to ask you, what were some of the pivotal moments, or a pivotal moment, whichever, in your life that allowed you to cultivate the gift that God placed inside of you?
I think the cultivating of it, which is the working on it and the tilling the ground, all that, I believe a lot of that happened at New Direction.
Okay.
So cultivating the gift happened there, where I was able to actually work in my gift. So I think a lot of that happened at New Direction, happened around people who were hungry for more, hungry for God, all those types of things. I think the cultivating happened there. What's the A?
Oh, that she's gonna ask you.
Oh, so I'm just answering.
Yeah.
I gotta hit myself. Because
She ready.
right. I'm like C.A.P. Let me answer all the questions that got to do with the C to A.
I always ask the cultivating question, but
to continue to cultivate. So I'm not done cultivating.
Oh yeah, as long as you living, you should still be cultivating.
So I should always. So even as Dr. Karren Todd, I'm still cultivating. I was actually looking at, once I finished my doctorate in ministry, I did a 1 year chaplaincy, a residency at Methodist for during the pandemic, which I don't know what happened in my head that I thought that would be a good time to go in the hospital to work during the pandemic. But so I'm always cultivating because I don't know the end of my story.
Yeah.
So because I don't know the end of my story, I need to always be prepared for the next step. Because every step builds on where you're going and where God is taking you. So if I start saying, that's it, I want to leave here empty. So I'm putting everything on the floor. So if I need these 3 certifications so that I can move to this next level and expand the territory and help more people, let's get it.
I love it. So with the accumulate, that's like to build up growth. What has being obedient to the Holy Spirit helped you to accumulate?
Everything. There is nothing that I have that did not come from a form of obedience. So yeah, everything, every degree, bank account, people, all of that has come from the Holy Spirit. And some of it, I've lost some of it because I didn't move when I was supposed to move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if I gained it back, or if I am working to gain it back, it's because I got back in alignment with obedience.
That's good.
So everything that I have, all that I am, has come from guidance from God, guidance from the Holy Spirit. So I can't. Yeah, that's the answer. Everything.
And that's real. That's real. I can't think of anything.
I
Yeah.
can't. I
It's
can't think of anything that I have that was worth having that came from not obeying the Holy Spirit. There is loss associated with that. Now, there's loss also associated being obedient.
mm,
So,
yeah,
you can be right where you're supposed to be and still have pain and still experience trauma. But we have to learn those lessons so that we don't continue to repeat the things that we're doing. So it makes everything that has happened in your life can make you better
exactly.
if you allow it to. If you allow it to make you bitter, then you're along the lines of, just you get stuck, you feel stagnant, you got triggers that you shouldn't have, you got buttons people pushing that you should have got rid of.
Uh-huh.
But if you are allowing the Holy Spirit to move and dwell and speak, and you are listening, you're in the right place, even if it's a painful place.
Exactly.
You're still in the right place.
And sometimes you're even losing friendships, people you've been close to
And
for
it hurts,
so
but
many years.
it's all right.
And
Everybody can't go.
exactly, because they were not. And then I start to like grow from that. And I'm like, if I had stayed right there, I noticed I was around a whole lot of people who were just like me,
Mhm.
who were just like me. So what
And then
room do we
God
have
also
to
wants
get?
to make room for, what was the song? No New Friends, whatever it was. I
Drake.
bind it. Because there are people that you need to associate with. There are people that God wants you to associate with for your next level.
Right.
So if you're deciding that I'm not going to meet new people, I'm not going to have new friends, then you're limiting what you can learn.
Right.
Because the people that are around you, just know this right here. And so if you're trying to move up, you may need to have a mentor that knows more about something else. You may need to be introduced to a circle of friends. It doesn't mean you have to, push aside the A1 from day one.
Right.
But you have to expand so that your brain can expand, so that when you go into an impoverished neighborhood and we go in and we take all these people to talk to them, we're doing that because we want them to see something different.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes people only know what they've seen. So sometimes that's also our story. So it was not until I was able to be in conversation with a room full of millionaires that may have become a real possibility for me.
Right.
But if I had said no new friends, no new circles, I would not have known I had access to some of the things that I have access to. Mm-hmm. Because there are people in my current circle that may not be talking about that. I think there was a post that I put online once. It was like, put me in the circle of people talking about goals and dreams and not the one talking about other people.
I like that.
So we have to be able to expand and allow God to expand and introduce new things, because that's how we come out of the comfort zone. That's how the comfort zone expands, and that's how we come out of it again. So
That's good. Now with the
give me some clips of this. There's some good stuff.
Oh yeah, we gonna have some clips. I'm loving this. I am loving every single minute. Told y'all I was looking forward to this. I actually made a post the other day. I'm like, ooh, I can't wait for this. For this Saturday, we gonna have some fun. We gonna laugh.
Absolutely.
We gonna you're gonna get a whole lot from this one right here.
I appreciate the expectation. I appreciate it.
I come expecting. And I know I'm gonna get it. With the P, prosper. Mm-hmm. People have their own views of what it means to be prosperous, such as the money, the fame. I don't look at that part totally. Maybe a little, but what's yours?
I believe that prosperity is many things. Sometimes it is money. But for me, prosperity is, what are you going to do with the money? So I am prosperous. My soul is prosperous when I am able to be a blessing to other people.
Right.
So I'll work hard and I'll gain the money. But what I do with the gain is what really makes me prosperous. when I'm able to be a blessing to domestic violence survivors, when I'm able to be a blessing to teen girls, for me, that's the prospering of my soul. So I don't negate prosperity being financial.
Right.
Because for me, it blesses me to continue to prosper in the way that I believe
Exactly.
my soul will prosper.
Exactly. The money is a big part of it, because sometimes it takes having the money to be able to do more for.
Absolutely. So I can do more. I can be more of a help for other people. So it's not about my gain, and then also to do what the Bible says to be, that I want to leave an inheritance for my children's children.
Right.
Yeah.
Which would be my granddaughter, Lanaya. So there are things that I'm working toward now that are completely for her. So that prosperity goes down through generations. So that gives her a head start that I may not have had, growing up in South Memphis. So that for me is prosperity and being prosperous.
So you're being a blessing. You're getting the blessings from God, which is the source, and you in turn are a resource to others. And I always tell people that God is the source.
Absolutely.
People are resources, or can be used as resources if your mindset or your intentions are pure.
Yes, very good. That's a great statement. That also works for people who are low in resources, or if they're shifted. So let's say if somebody is, they lost their job.
Yeah.
But you didn't lose the source. You lost a resource.
Yeah.
The source can replenish the resources. I remember my laptop was stolen one time, twice actually. And I was devastated. I was like, oh, I had all my sermons on there. I had all the conferences I had done, everything was on there. And I was devastated, and I was crying out to God, why me? Why you do that? And the Holy Spirit was like, but you still got the source. And everything that's on that laptop, you've already done. So let's do something new.
Yeah.
So stop crying over what was gone, because you've already used that. That's old. I've got some new stuff because I was still connected to the source.
That's good. Now, I'm saying that a lot today. That's good. I'm getting lost, because that's something that I said is going to be thought-provoking. It's going to be fun. You're going to laugh. That's why I was really looking forward to this, because I leave here thinking, and that's a big part of what we're about. We're about, putting things out there that's positive and being able to help someone else. You can still have fun. You can still have fun as a Christian. People feel like if you're a Christian, you have to be uptight and you have to sit here like this. Gone are those days. Gone are those days.
Be whoever you need to be.
Right.
Be whoever God called you to be,
Exactly.
and be better at it. But that was not my calling, so I'm grateful.
Well, now that we have asked you some questions that were, like you said, thought-provoking, and you've given us some great answers and a little bit more about yourself. Now we're in the segment of the show where we're going to have a little fun. Let's pick one.
All right.
So I'm going to start it off, and I'm going to do a pick one dealing with music.
Okay.
And once I give the two artists, I'm going to give my take, and then I'm going to allow you to give your take on who you pick.
Look. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So I love R&B just like I love my old school hip hop and inspirational gospel. But this is with two ladies, same song, Angel from Angela Winbush or Angel from Anita Baker. Now I'm gonna tell you,
Anita Baker, go ahead. Say what you got to say.
Yeah,
but,
mine is Anita Baker. I'm anybody know me know Anita, and I'm planning on seeing her on my birthday month in November when she comes here to Memphis. I'm a huge Anita Baker fan. Now that one with Angela Winbush, it goes hard, but that Anita, the way it drops,
it's not the same song. So you got a Generation X person up in here, so it's not necessarily the same. It's not the same lyrics, same title.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Same title, okay.
Yeah.
Because Layla
Angel.
Hathaway did a version of Anita Baker's Angel.
Yeah.
So that would have been the same song. I actually had Angela Winbush at Project Stand one year. Wonderful.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, it was.
I got excited.
Yeah.
I said Anita Baker.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Anita
Soundtrack
Baker
to my
fan.
20s.
Anita Baker, I'm a huge fan of hers. But both the songs are titled Angel, but it's different, and so they both go hard. But I'm partial to Anita.
Baker. Dreams are dreams. Some dreams come true. I found a real dream when I found you. Yeah. Anita Baker.
And the way it just drops when it first come on, that smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So I will agree with you. Anita
Is,
Baker. That was on the, and that was one of her first, that was like our introduction to Anita Baker. That was on the songstress CD. So that's the only song a lot of people know from that CD, but there was some great songs.
She's my favorite female R&B artist, so I got a playlist just with Anita's music on there. So I'm a fan.
She said she was retiring. And I was like, I don't know if she's coming to Memphis. So I drove to Atlanta to see her, and then the schedule came out for her to be in Memphis, and then she's still touring. So what? I don't know about this retirement.
Yeah, well,
it's a long retirement.
I intend on seeing her. That's my birthday month in November, and I intend on going to finally see her.
You'll have an amazing time.
Whew, okay. Now, see, I think I would lean towards Anita Baker too, but I was like listening to Angela Winbush. I'm like, okay, both of these are really good. They're really good, but I do lean towards Anita Baker. So, since he had the music, I thought I would go with some best movie portrayals.
Okay.
So, one of my favorites, well, I already said mine in a sense, but Jamie Foxx as Ray. Or I'm going to go with Denzel Washington, Malcolm X. Two very good movies. Todd.
Two very good movies. Two very good actors. I think the impact of Ray and Malcolm impact my answer. You know what I mean? So I think it's less, because Jamie Foxx is an actor above all, and he's an entertainer above all, and Denzel is an actor above all. Jamie has so many gifts and talents with singing and acting and all that good wonderful stuff, but that's not what you asked me. So you want me to choose?
Pick one.
Based on the person, based on the actor.
Whichever sense that you...
Based on the stretch of how this person became...
that person. It's hard.
It's only difficult because I love Malcolm X. So that's what's making this difficult for me. My love for Malcolm X is greater than my love for Ray Charles. But that's not what you're asking me. So I'm trying to separate the two. So if I had to choose between the people, Malcolm X would be my choice. Choosing between the actor becoming that person, I think Jamie Foxx gets it. Only because of the stretch that he has to sing, he has to act as if he cannot see when he can see. I remember them talking about how they would, whatever prostheses or whatever they would put on his face, where he would be blind while he was doing it, he could not see.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Well, check the facts. I might be wrong. It's been a long time. But that's what I remember. Yes. So he would show up on set, and then they would do the makeup and all this. And so then he can't see all day, even while he's acting. And so they're having to move him around. So that's a different level of throw yourself into this.
Oh, Lord.
Than maybe Denzel had to do with Malcolm. Not taking anything from him.
Right.
As Malcolm X, because we believed that Denzel was Malcolm, and if you see a real picture of the two of them, they look nothing alike. But he was such a good actor, is such a good actor that we believed it. But I'll land on Jamie Foxx as Ray.
Definitely my choice is Jamie Foxx for the same exact reason. Two very great portrayals, but it was just like, then you even telling me that makes it even more major, like, wow, you did that. And
he got a chance to be with Ray. So Denzel didn't really get a chance to hang out with Malcolm X like Jamie Foxx had a chance to hang out with Ray Charles. So there's some things and some mannerisms, all these things that he was able to gain because he sat with him.
One of the cool things that I like about actors, though, especially actors like Denzel Washington, is he'll study that actor, though. You know, because even though he couldn't be right there and like get a chance to be around him, he learns the mannerisms. He gets every piece of it, and it just makes the markings of a very good actor. So
Absolutely.
in some senses, that can make you lean towards Denzel, but it's still.
I ain't leaning.
It's
I'ma
still.
stay
It's
over
still.
here. 10 toes down. Jamie Foxx. In that question.
In that.
Right.
What would you say, Mr. Davis?
Yeah, you know, I'm sort of like what you said. I'm a huge fan of Malcolm X. Got the picture of him and MLK hanging on my living room wall, and I'm a huge fan of Denzel. That's my favorite actor. And I'm a huge fan definitely of Jamie Foxx. But in this case, the way he portrayed Ray, and then I knew about him having to have that to where he couldn't see, and then he had his mannerisms because he got a chance to actually sit with him before he passed away. So Jamie knocked
he had
it
a
up
lot
the
of them
park.
before. Being a comedian,
He
he had
impersonate,
bits and he would. So
but when you see that movie and just his whole everything that Ray would do, it's like So I would give that.
If you had chosen a different movie, Denzel would have won. But with that movie, with Ray again,
Definitely.
Yeah. So now we're about to head into the segment of the show, the banana peel. Also, for those who are viewing, like always, send in your banana peel questions to the C.A.P podcast3@gmail.com. That's the C.A.P podcast3@gmail.com. So with further ado, let's go ahead and get off into this question that was sent to us. It says, lately I've been feeling stuck in life. I feel I'm being pushed to bigger and better things God has for me, but I feel like I'm getting in my own way. Fear and insecurity holds me hostage a lot of times, especially when it comes to my faith, to go into the deep and leave the shallow. I don't want to drown. How can I overcome this? And this is from Issa out of Kansas City, Missouri. Eric, I'm going to let you go ahead and give your take before I give mine.
Okay. This is like really interesting to me. I think I even said it a little bit earlier because I was in this spot. You know, I was in this spot where I had the insecurities, I had the fear, and it was definitely holding me hostage, and I was getting in my own way. A lot of times, and it's good that you acknowledge, Easter, that you are the person getting in your own way. So often we are blaming it on other people. I'm stuck here because this person did this, and I'm stuck here because this person did that. But to first acknowledge that you are getting in your own way, that is the first step to being able to overcome this. Acknowledge it, and then make a decision that you're going to turn around and you don't want to stay stuck there. I always talk about staying stuck in the detours and how you have to push forward to destiny. Despite what's going on around you, despite what other people are saying, despite you getting in your own way, you have to make the decision, because you're only going to see change when you decide to change. So you have to make the decision. Of course, we can't make it for you. To step out of your own way and step into where God will have for you to be. And let me tell you, from somebody who stepped out, it's a wonderful feeling. It's an absolutely wonderful feeling. So make the decision, because you've already taken the first step, and that's acknowledgement.
That is a very, that's good knowledge and good answer that you shared with her. I would say this, Issa, there's two things. I often tell people, just because you hearing doubts don't mean you have to listen. We're all going to hear doubts at times, whether it's coming internally or from others. Also, with the scripture, it says in 2 Timothy 1:7, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. You already acknowledge that is you getting in your own way, that fear and insecurity is holding you hostage. Well, by you acknowledging that now and you have your faith in God, it's time to exercise that. I often tell people you can't out-exercise a bad diet. You know, you gotta, there's a process. You gotta do not only work out in the gym, but you gotta try to eat better. Because if you're only doing one thing, you're not gonna get the full effect. So just, you know, learn to look at it for what it is, trust God, and step out. I know it's easier said than done, but hey, what happens in life that's easier said than done? You have to do the work. You have to make the decision. I want this more so than to stay stuck where I'm at. No matter what it is, whether it's career-wise, whether it's your own personal health, whether it's relational-wise, whatever it may be, definitely, you know, make that decision to do. What would want to ask her, I guess, advice would you give her?
The advice that you all have given, both, great advice. I think just to add to that, I would say that, first of all, you need a plan. So we are, in this generation where we live now, in this culture rather, we have a lot of buzzwords. We've got a lot of therapy terms from people who have not been to therapy. You know, so we have all these things. So we have this self-awareness that we don't do anything with. So we sound smart by saying that I'm aware, by saying that, you know, I'm getting in my own way. I got to get out of my head, but do it though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you may need therapy. You may need a coach. You may need a counselor. You need someone around you that sees more for you than you see. So the fight of the fear and the insecurity is because you're the only one fighting. So you have this dream. Okay, I think I want to do this. I think God is telling me to do this. But I know, you know what's in your closet. You know what you failed at. You know what, you know, so you are fighting this battle alone. But when you bring in a third person, when you bring in a coach or a counselor, you have someone that is looking from a different angle, that sees through a different lens. So that way, I as a coach can say, okay, so you are fearful. What are you afraid of? You're insecure. Why are you insecure? God has not given us a spirit of fear. Another scripture tells us that we should take captive every thought and align it with the will of God. So if I'm thinking this fear and that does not align with who God has called me to be, I need to work on captivating that thought so that does not overcome what I'm supposed to be doing. And sometimes someone else can help you.
Right.
Someone else can pull you up. Someone else can pull you out. Someone else can push you. Because you're depending on all of this happening. That whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps, I don't believe it to be so. There is always someone that has done something that has given you an edge. So why not use that to the best of your ability? Whether it's someone in ministry, whether it's a book club or whatever it is, position yourself around people who want as much, if not more. Position yourself around people who have already accomplished what you're going for. You sit in a group of people that ain't did nothing. And you're the smartest one in the room, get out the room. If you're the smartest person in your circle, change circles. Because you need to be around people that can elevate you.
Challenge you.
Certainly.
You. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I get it. Fear is real. Insecurities are real. All those good, wonderful things. But the difficulty in getting out of our own head is that we're really comfortable in there. We're comfortable with our dysfunction. Fear helps us not. Fear, it can be safe. So we need to sometimes bring someone else in that can help to pull us or push us to where God would have us to be.
And something that you said that I know as a man, and I know women deal with it too, but I can only speak from a man's point of view, that because I used to feed into that, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. And when I realized that there's some validity in that, but totally you're going to always need help from someone.
Yeah.
And so when I got out of that mindset, things started to change for me greatly, because growing up and playing sports and having that alpha male mentality, it was always like, man, I got to, you know.
I did this all by myself. But what about the coach? The coach didn't say nothing.
Yeah, so it's,
All the
it's
players had no advice
so
for
it's
you.
so it's that in a lot of fellas and some women too, but a lot of brothers tend to because of lack of a complete circle or maybe the encouragement from their lady or whoever it is in their life or anything, tend to be like, I gotta do this. It's hustle. We use that word and we do all hustle in some form of fashion, but when it's misdirected and it's all about team no sleep, I gotta get it. Well, your body would let you know if you, because I've been there and I'm like, you know what? Nah, I'm off that protocol.
Then you're gonna be knocked down to where you have to lay down.
Yeah. So
And then you'll need to reach out to someone to help. So it's all going to come back around to being able to, be in a tribe, be in a community, be all these things where you can get the help that you need. There may be seasons of your life where you'll have to do it yourself. And then there are but the seasons that prepare you for that are the ones that you spend with other people.
Right.
So getting a therapist, getting a coach, getting into group counseling, just all of that helps us to become the best of who we were. One of the things we were created for is fellowship. We were not created for isolation.
Right.
That's why solitary confinement is punishment, because that's not what we were created. We were not created for isolation. So we have to be able to move and breathe and live and dream with other people.
So Issa, there you have it. There you have it. Before I say what I was about to say, let me say this now. Those of you who are watching, make sure, look down a little bit while you're watching. You see that little box right there? It says subscribe. Click on that box right there. All right, go do it. Go click on it right now. All right, thank you. All right, make sure you like, share, and comment. And this is great. I really do love that answer that you said, especially the talking to someone, just in knowing that even in that, when we made this podcast, it's that we're both speakers, we're both coaches. So if you are out there and you do need someone who you need to coach you, because not only are we coaches, she is too. We're out there, E6 coaching and consulting, 5 dimensions of a man coaching. We're out there for speaking engagements, for coaching. We are here. Contact us, and we will be very, very happy to serve you. And that's also in the schools and graduations as well. And in that, Pastor Karren, we have been so excited to have you here. This has been thought-provoking. It's been fun. Child, we laughed. At some moments, I thought I was going to cry because it's just that good, but it's a good cry.
I didn't bring tissue.
Me either. I think it's in my purse. Can you let our listeners know how they can get in touch with you?
Certainly. The best way to get in touch with me is through my website, and it is KarrenTodd.com. 2 R's in Karren, 1 for real and 1 for relevant. So KarrenTodd.com is the best place. You can also find me on 88.5 every Wednesday at noon for SOAR. SOAR stands for Success Over and Above Reason, because when you tap into the best version of yourself, you're able to have success in every area of your life. So the radio show on Wednesdays at noon, and the website. And what else do I do? Oh, social media. Dr. Karren Todd on Facebook, Karren Todd on IG. Yeah. You just have to remember 2 R's in Karren, or you'll be talking to my cousin, who is Karren Todd with 1 R.
Awesome. So now comes to the segment where we have our own special moments, the detour moment and the brain drop moment. So with the detour moment, there used to be this poem, and it made me think of it when Pastor Karren was coming out here, because she used to mess with me a lot of times. The poem, I'm Determined to Be Somebody Someday, by Herbert
That
W.
was your claim to
Brewster.
fame. Yeah.
It was. The present conditions. No, I'm not going to say it. But there is a part in there, and I'm going to change the word just a little bit. In spite of the detours that have stood in my way, I have messed around and became somebody this day, in spite of the detours, in spite of what you're going through, in spite of you getting in your own way. Still keep pushing past the detours, still keep moving forward and believing. You have to believe in yourself that you will make it. You will manifest the things that you speak. Speak them and believe them. You hear people say, achieve it. No, believe it and then achieve it. So push past the detours, get out of your own way, and you will definitely become somebody this day. And as I said before, if you need to get in contact with me, that's Ephesians6pro@gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook as Erica Jackson, Ephesians 6 Productions, and also E6 Coaching and Consulting. If you're looking for a speaker, a coach, any of those for workshops, conferences, any of that, you can contact Erica Jackson.
All righty. Good stuff, Erica. Very good stuff. The brain drop moment for today. Put the work in until it works out. I'm going to say that again. Put the work in until it works out. No matter what it is that you're trying to do in this life, career-wise, personal goals, relational, anything, it's going to take work. Nothing happens overnight. The scripture also says faith without works is dead. And we hear that a lot. People use that as a sound bite, but it's a true word. It's in the Bible. But you have to, the operative word is, without work, you have to put the work in with anything that you do. Like I said earlier, you can't out-exercise a bad diet. You have to, it's a process with everything that we do. And so if you want to achieve something or you know that you're trying to live out your purpose, you're going to have to put work. You're going to have to, sometimes may have to separate yourself from people, separate yourself from your own negative thinking, because that happens sometimes. But put the work in until it works out. And if you do that, God would definitely manifest it in your life. I also want to say, if you need a speaker, I'm not a politician or a pastor, but I do have something to say. There's nothing wrong with those individuals because they're needed. 5 Dimensions, coaching and speaking. Go to my Linktree Jerry Davis, author jdavis@gmail.com. I would love to give you some more brain drops and have you think, help you look at some things differently. Today has been a wonderful episode. This episode 11 with our special guest, Pastor Dr. Karren Todd.
Thank you for having me, sir.
I'm glad that you came. And she gave you all her information to contact us, or contact her for any of those services. And before we close out, like I always leave you with my saying that I say all the time is, if you're going to be anything, be for real. This is JD.
This is Erica.
And we will see you next week. Cultivate.
Accumulate.
And together
we'll prosper.
We'll prosper. Peace.